Now, because she didn't cry and, you know, her umbilical cord was as short as it was, they went ahead and they took her upstairs. And in taking her upstairs, I was like, all right, well, you go with the baby. I'm good. So my husband left and went with the baby, and just Dr. Z and I, we kind of got the placenta out and, you know, cleaned up and everything. And I was able to finally go upstairs and just enjoy being a mom. I stayed at the hospital for 2 days. And that was a really great experience because your nursing staff, you could tell Northside, Cherokee, when just for the two of those organizations, the way that they are, phenomenal standard of care. I can't say a bad word about either. I was taken really good care of. And I remember towards my last day of my stay, they checked my blood pressure, because you get checked on every couple of hours just to make sure. After you have a baby, it's very difficult. Anything can happen. So they check you out every couple of hours. And I remember one of my last checkups before I was set to be released, it was like, your blood pressure's high. We're going to do a second reading. And so we do a second reading. Oh, that was a little bit higher than this one. Okay, let's talk to the doctor on call and see what we want to do. And so because my blood pressure wasn't higher than a certain number, they were like, she's still good to go home. So that was their professional opinion, which was what was best at the time. And so I did. I was checked out and fine. Baby was checked out and fine. So I came home. I think I was home for like 2 days. And in those 2 days, I started having horrible headaches, to the point where I couldn't keep my eyes open. Bright lights were triggers for me. Her crying was triggers for me. And, you know, just being able to keep my eyes focused on something was hard to do. Immediately knew something was wrong. I went back to Cherokee Women's, and I was talking to Dr. Z, and she was like, I'm going to send you to the hospital. And she's like, I know you. I know you're bubbly, you're outspoken, you're very vibrant. She's like, this is not you. I'm concerned. And, you know, to have a doctor stop and say, that's not of you, she was concerned. And so Dr. Z sent me back to the hospital on a Tuesday. So it was like 2 days after, 2-3 days after. And so I go back to the hospital, and I remember they checked me out, and initially they're like, well, headaches after having a baby, you know, are you having any sinus issues, any breathing trouble? So of course they do the whole workup of what's normal. And so they did that and pretty much explained to me, you know, let's see how you are at home over the next few days. So I went home, and I kind of didn't feel right with the decision of being told to go home. And that's why I say it's important to trust your healthcare provider. I went right back to Dr. Z. I was like, I need to know, like, is this, in your medical opinion, would you have sent me home? And she's like, well, you know, I'm worried about you, you know, let me check something out. And so they had me do the test where you kind of sit on the edge of the bed and they check your reflexes. And in doing that, she found that I was hyper-reflective, like I was jumping out, which is not normal. Yes, you know, your legs are supposed to pop, you know, but this is like almost instant, which would indicate something is going on up top. So she calls and she's like, you know, what I want you to do, monitor your blood pressure for 24 hours. She's like, go get your at-home blood pressure machine, monitor it for 24 hours, and we'll see what's going on with that. And so I did. I went and purchased it. I monitored it for 24 hours. In those 24 hours, I remember my blood pressure reaching 160 over 110, which is extremely dangerous, you know, extremely, you know, that you can have a heart attack at that point, you know. And so I called Cherokee Women's, and they're like, oh, Dr. Z is at the hospital. So I did that. I went to the hospital. I'm like, all right, you know, I'm not feeling great. Blood pressure's still high. Here I am. So I go to her, and I had a bit of a difficult time getting in the back to her. And so because no one else was aware of this, it was kind of a her and I situation. So I go home. They send me home. I come back to the house. And as soon as I park my car, my phone is ringing. And I'm like, it's 11 o'clock at night. Who's calling me? So I answer the phone, and it's Dr. Z. And she's like, I'm so sorry they sent you home. I am here. I want you here. I've talked to security. I've talked to the nurses. Get back here. She's like, you need to be taken care of. You need to be treated. And so I go back to the hospital. That entire car ride, I literally sat there in tears, and not because that I was turned around, not because I was sad about what was going on, but to have a doctor take time out of their busy schedule to call you, it meant the world to me. Not every doctor is going to do something like that. Not every doctor is going to say, let me stop my day to do that. She could have easily said, you have a primary doctor, you just had a baby, you're no longer in my care, go home, call your doctor. But she took time out of her day to make sure that I was okay. And it's why I'm forever grateful to her. You know, to some, she may have done her job. You know, that's what she's paid to do. She did her job. But for me, that's going above the standard of care to make sure that I'm okay. I got back to the hospital. She got me in a room. And they immediately started doing a magnesium drip to treat the preeclampsia and bring down my blood pressure. And I pray that nobody who sees this has to go through that. But that thing, when it gets into your body, it is hot. You feel uncontrollably hot. It's like you're not in control of your body temperature. And it's like you're hot, but your skin is cold. So you want to be under covers, but then your body is on fire. And I remember having to get a head CT done to make sure everything was okay up top. And after getting that magnesium drip, I was there for like a day. Just kept me just to be safe. And when I got home, complete change in how everything felt. I was able to enjoy being a mom because, okay, yes, I just had a baby. Now I can see straight. Now I can think straight without getting migraines. I can listen to her cry and get all excited because it's like, you just sound like a little bitty kid and just, so it was like being able to enjoy being a parent, because now you don't have to worry about the stress of, okay, am I sick still? You know, is this a problem? Is that a problem? And I have nobody else to thank but my doctors at Cherokee Women, you know, looking out for me, taking care of me the way that they did, and just going above the standard of care to make sure that I was okay.